Well, I'd say their problem was uh, the annoying fact that the years. Oh, ouch.
Mm,
The way the years landed meant that either they um either their game for the year was the expected Pokemon Z, or the game for the year was something, something had to give with it. They couldn't, like,
couldn't do both, essentially. Yeah.
yeah, and announcing, hey, it's 20 years, let's give them number Gen 7 was a
Hmm.
better shout than, here's Kanto again, which,
Yeah, and that's absolutely fair. Like I can respect that to a certain degree. Like again, like they're making this is what the gameplay that they would like to this is the games like they make themselves, but then they have to like kowtow to their Nintendo masters at the best of times. So they if they need to trash out a game in a year, that's what they have to do.
yeah.
And if they're told need to do a remake, then so be it. Kind of way. Um, I love this just Snorlax chilling under a fucking like pergola here. It's just the funniest thing. It's like I can't even wake up the fella. Like it's gas. Like
Oh wait, a Snorlax under, wasn't that in X and Y as well?
yeah, this is Pokemon Village.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Sorry, it took me a second to recognize it there.
mm,
So, I guess, kind of, as we're kind of talking about the bit in Zygarde and how it got shafted for the 25-year anniversary.
mm.
What do you think is going to happen now for the 30-year anniversary is coming up in, like, 2 years from now?
Well, I mean, it's only 2 years. It's gonna be Gen 10, isn't it? Like that'd be my kind of read on it.
So what does that mean we get up until then? Because we can't be sitting on, like, Scarlet and Violet DLC is all you'll get.
No, I think the Scarlet and Violet kind of the jam is gonna probably like obviously it's wrapped up now with the reveal of the second DLC and the epilogue, which we'll talk about in the course of this
Oh
course
yeah.
of this week's videos. But I think like I would imagine they'll probably stave us off with like a potential remake and a side project, and then that'll all kind of like do set up the groundwork then for Generation 10. Like I'd say we wouldn't get Generation 10 in 2026, but you might get the announcement for it in 26. Kind of way.
Yeah.
Because then that would probably coincide with the Switch 2 and all that stuff. So it's yeah, it'd be a kind of a convenient time to do it. I'd be amazed. I'd
It's
be surprised if we got Gen 10 this early.
No, we'll not get Gen 10 this early, but this this year we're expecting the Switch 2 to be announced.
Hmm.
Maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like that, it'll be out by holiday 24.
Hmm. Which makes sense. Which
Pokemon
is realistic enough. Yeah.
Pokemon doesn't put things out within the first year of a product being out.
Yeah.
So let's see, like the Switch was released in 2017, early 2017,
Hmm.
and what was Let's Go was the first one and it came out in 2018.
Yeah. So it's not
It's
immediate essentially.
it's not like, you'll have some franchises be launch titles, like your Mario's and your Zeldas will be launch titles.
Yeah.
Pokemon will be a year or two into the life cycle. Like Black 2, White 2 came out a few weeks before the 3DS came out.
Mm.
So they didn't rush, let's get the 3D game out onto the Switch or out onto the 3DS whenever the 3DS was announced.
Yeah,
They
I get you down on that one. Yeah, now that could change now whether if they decide that Pokemon needs to be a launch title for the Switch too. If they've got something that they think they need to
Yes,
get
but
out,
sorry, this is a small indie dev team.
yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. But like that's the same that if they're given a good jump on the on time and on finances and funds, and again
Yep.
if it's not them doing it, it could be someone else. You know what I mean? Like we're not talking about an outright you know fresh new game here. Where like it could be a Gen 5 remake. It could be a Legends game. You know what I mean? It needs to be something that people
Yeah.
will buy straight off the bat. And again, like Nintendo, they're not going to be able to to resist having a Pokemon themed Switch too. Like that's just inevitable, you know.
Oh yeah.
And what I'd like to do then is to have it at launch, you know, or in the same way like when is Zelda when like is like you're not gonna get a Zelda game at that time, and you're not probably not gonna get a Mario game at that time. So I think it is probably Pokemon's turn to step up to the plate, like, you know.
No, it's going to be Metroid 4.
Like, do you know what? It could be Metroid. You know, not a bad choice for a launch title. But it's not going to be that list.
They announced Metroid Prime 4 years
Yeah.
ago, and we have not seen the only promo that we have seen for Metroid Prime 4 is the splash screen for it.
But would you agree that like that is not top billing though as a launch title? It is second or third tier, if you like, compared to say if you're comparing Metroid's in the same bracket for me as something like Kirby, you know, or Pikmin. It's like it's nice to have that as well as your top tier launch title. So if you're like the top tier would be a Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon. That's to me is the top three. And then
Yes and no, like I think you're forgetting, like, okay, Zelda went through a very rough patch over the years. Like
they've
they've had great, oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah. They're like, Zelda fans are eating well now, but we
Yes.
had rough times between different games. And I think people forget like the shoveling shit that was put out. There was two DS games that were tech demos for what the DS can do. And that
Yeah.
was it. There was the 3DS game. No, they put out one fantastic 3DS game, original 3DS game, not talking about remakes. They put out one fantastic original 3DS game, and they put out an absolutely horrid one that kind of spoke more to here's the schlock that Zelda can put out if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And the plot for that one was the princess of the nearby kingdom got cursed into wearing a leotard,
Oh no.
and you have to go and defeat the Madame Proper or whatever her name was, Cruella de Vil-esque fashion-based villain.
So basically, it was Zelda like tied with like the world ends with you, essentially.
Yeah, like,
yeah, Zelda go with fashion.
there is so much, like, they have churned out schlock in that franchise before,
Yeah.
and then they followed that one up with Breath of the Wild, and that was like, it has gone so well since.
This is what I'm saying. You see, like I said, like those like the brands are gonna like either be hot or not to a certain
Yeah,
degree,
yeah,
and like Zelda one way or another is gonna be hot. So if there were people who be clamoring for a Zelda, so you probably might like the closing to a Zelda project you would get is probably a remake. You know, so likewise with Mario. But that's
yeah,
where you have your virtual consoles. That's where you have your Nintendo Switch Plus. That's
yeah.
the kind of the untapped resource that Nintendo have is to get that up
Yeah.
and running. As you said, we've
Oh,
kind of agreed before
I,
that this is too much game for a Switch 2 anyway.
I'm hoping it's called the Super Switch.
Super Switch would be great. Like that just makes so much sense, and it would be nice, and it would feel nice and retro, and they could do a lot of things with it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's catchy as well. Like Super Switch sounds good, you know. It
That-
sounds really 90s.
That is in my head what I'll be calling it, even if it gets announced as something else.
Yeah, you know, I'm with you on that one. I'm gonna call it the Super Switch as well. Like that's a lot better. It's just as a branding thing alone, that just makes mountains of sense. But yeah, that's what I mean. At least from a Pokemon standpoint, like, yeah, like you can see Gen 10 being announced. Like they're probably doing all the kind of the resource gathering now for that, and because that's like it kind of makes sense. Again, like it's if they have other teams working on certain projects, then they'll might draft in other teams to do certain game titles. You know, likewise, I think for the actual.
The question would be, would Ilka be trusted with Black 3, White 3 or Black White remake?
You see, we were having this conversation last time we were talking, and like if for something for a Gen 5 thing, you either have to shit or get off the pot and just give new content in that story. You know, like that's the way I'd look at it. You can't like how do you marry between if you do a Gen 5 remake, you
Mhm.
can't do just black and white on its own. Like white like black and white 2 would have to be in the conversation somewhere. Because let's face it, like with black and white, they're going to throw in all the fancy new battle mechanics they had in the current generations. And that
No, you take a look at Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. They left out Gigantamaxing and stuff like that.
yeah, but that's a Wart and all remake, and like really speaking, it's exactly what you wanted, or exactly what you expected, but it wasn't that great. You know, it didn't really, it's not really
Mm.
catch the attention type of remake. So
Sorry, what the hell happened to that Blissey there?
it switched out. Like
No. Blissey is tank. How did with one attack? How did you do that much damage to it?
Blissey has terrible physical defense.
Does it?
Like yes, its two strengths are its HP and its special defense. Physical defense, you can take it down. You can take down any of them with one shot.
Really?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
The shreds, you say? No, I don't think I ever caught that. Like I always thought, like Chansey and Blissey line were just tank.
No,
So
you need to do. You sometimes need to do something clever with to keep Blissey in the battle. Like you can use it as a damage sink quite effectively if you play your cards right. I tell you right now. So I'm even looking at the base points here. The HP is 255, special defense is 135, and your defense is 10.
what?
10.
God damn. Was it
Yeah.
always that way, or was there like a realigning for?
No, that was well. It would have technically realigned when you had the physical and special split back in Gen 4. So you may remember, like, if you had like a really physical type, like rocker or fighting or steel or whatever, you'll demolish Blissies. But if you were using water or fire, it would put up more of a fight.
I really don't remember. I really don't remember that.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
he shook. He
I
shuckled.
am I am shackled. Yep.
He is shuckled, ladies and gentlemen. uh,
Um.
yeah, like that's the thing. Like I think, like for something like that, like what I found very interesting and was quite telling actually in the the most recent DLC was the synchro machine. Was that kind of mode to be able to walk around as your Pokemon? That to me
Mhm.
felt a bit like a tech demo,
Oh
personally.
yeah. In a lot of ways, each of these games have a little bit of tech demo for what's going to come next.
Yeah,
Like,
and
and I think one of the cases for that is Diamond and Pearl had the Pal Park that you could walk around with your buddy. Your buddy can only be one of the starters, by the way, or one
yeah,
of the cutesy types. And
mm,
then next game, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Hey, you can walk around with everything because like we figured that we did our tech test.
yeah, exactly. Like, we were able to work out the fine print in that sense,
Yeah.
and like I said, to be able to like they went through a lot of effort to make sure every walk and animation, every animation for movements for those Pokemon were perfect. You don't waste that amount of effort on a DLC, is what I would say.
Yeah.
That's data that's going to be stored away for a future project,
Oh, absolutely.
and that's a mystery dungeon or let's go or not let's go or legends type of a
Yep.
project. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's what you need to do. We
we've
have that
oh,
data.
we've only had Mystery Dungeon in like top-down format, but could we have a Mystery Dungeon from like or again another full IP? If we're looking at like if there's call like within the main series, there's franchises within that. You've got main series proper, you've got
Hmm.
um Let's Go, and you've got Legends.
Yeah,
We have another one of like you are Pokemon.
yeah, like a spiritual successor to Mystery Dungeon to a certain degree. You don't have to have the Mystery Dungeon part, but you have exploration. You have
Yeah.
survival aspects to it. Again, as daft as it sounds, a bit of a breath of a wild to it. Um,
Is this? I'm trying to place what town this is supposed to be based on. Is this the Crater Town in Diamond and Pearl? Like,
No, I think it's a fictional one they did. I think this is a reference to one of their old fan made games. I think this is
ah,
yeah. So
Okay.
There's a little hat tip here. They do sometimes where they have like, they acknowledge that like Pokemon's part of a wider world. So like here's an area from a far gone land that you don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Now we're at the spear pillar.
I mean, thanks for bringing us here. We've it's an empty room. Grant. All the legends.
Mm-hmm. And here.
Like I'd say there probably is an item there, but
I only realized back in the edit that there is actually an item in the spirit pillar and I completely missed it.
yeah.
And now we're in space.
I think that might have been one of the best DLC aspects or whatever you want to call it. The epilogue that they gave for Oras
Mm.
of like that cutscene battling the ice.
Yeah, it's cool. And here we are
Hey,
at the beacons. And our real rival is here too.
hey, Nix.
Yep.
All right.
There
Oh,
are no seats.
I certainly trust them. They don't seem like cults.
Yes, they all just dress the same way.
Look, he said they're not a cult.
I mean, like how like you can take the word for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Why we really got him monologuing?
In fairness, this is explaining the back end of the cult plot, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about the Oracle there, who's
Yeah.
a glorified street magician, which is a nice way of calling him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is us, of course. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah, so yeah, it was all a bit too convenient that we were able to get all these crystal pieces together and tear apart these cults. Apparently, we've been manipulated this whole time.
Also, Giratina never made sense along like that Trinity doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, no.
Like time, yeah, space, yeah,
Hell.
antimatter. Oh, of course, the third one in the like no. Mm-hmm.
Everyone's a hero in their own story, as they say.
Oh yeah. You either die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Getting a science lesson here now. Brace yourselves.
No.
Let him talk. Let him cook. Let him cook. He's got something here. So this all
Oh.
definitely happens. All definitely happens.
The fuck?
Yep. But bear in mind, like, you know, like they live in an antimatter world, so like they had to evolve. So they're spectral
Clearly.
beings. They're not solid.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
No.
it's an insurgent.
Huh?
Do you see it? Do you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
They said the line, Bert. They said the line.
In order to win this, I'm going to need to be Rocky 4. Adrian's Revenge.
Adrian's Revenge. Fucking Nora's Revenge, apparently.
Ah, yes, you get a chance to stop and like prep yourself.
In fairness, you need prep for this one. This is by far the hardest battle in the game.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about that.
Oh no, you don't know the gimmick yet. Uh-huh.
Okay, so how many times is this going to take us?
It took a lot. Thankfully, a lot of them have been edited out. So for your viewing displeasure. But yeah.
Okay,
So this
but
is
are we going to get to see the most humiliating one first?
yes. Yeah, I think I normally always keep the first attempt, and I think it's either a rule of 3 from there, or I just go for the correct answer from that point on. I think I'll go for the correct answer after that, just because
Okay.
like this one in particular is a cruel one because like you have to actually like, you know, go back through all the areas to come back here and listen to some of the exposition. So this one you kind of get right, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that is one gimmick that just never like vanished.
Yeah, it just didn't work. It just didn't work.
But like they limited it to you can battle one trainer with this gimmick.
Yeah.
You can't even do it with another trainer. Like I can't even throw on my X and Y and do was it an inverse battle against you?
Inverse battle, yeah. It just wasn't much take up on it. That's the thing. Like at least like in this game, it kind of makes it there's a narrative reason for it. You know, it's not like it's something that's kind of it is like just a bit of a goof in the original in the other games. Here, it's kind of like, you know, it's part of the plot, which kind of is what it needed to be to begin with to make it work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is where it gets problematic.
Oh.
Because bear in mind, this is inverse rules, so
Yeah.
go so weak to normal.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because Blaziken is psychic flying here, so fight type is quadruple damage.
Mm-hmm. I forgot just how broken Mega Kangaskhan is.
Yeah, no, but now it's Mega Kangaskhan with where Return as a normal type move is super effective a lot more often.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a killer of a battle.
Oof. Oh.
Yeah.
It's not even that. Like it's the extra. The baby Kanga part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we've been booted out back to Ametroid City. So yeah, that battle is serious business.
Yeah.
Serious business. So let's try this again. Now bear in mind now, so like we start off with Aurorus as the first Pokemon here, which again is one well known for having a lot of serious weaknesses. But again,
But
inverse rules.
that means in an inverse battle, it's a beast.
Exactly, and that's what I find quite clever is that like given it has given a new lease of life to certain Pokemon that like have some very obvious weaknesses until you basically engineer them out with a battle mechanic.
I suppose I never really thought of that. Was Aurorus meant to be an inverse battle Pokemon?
I don't think so. I think it was just to tick that box of like we need a rock ice type and that's it, you know. But that's also why you give like that kind of variety in battle styles because like
Yeah.
the Pokemon has a reason to be in a sense, you know. So here we go. So now we're up and away now. Okay, now this is
Right,
another one.
Buccaneer. Oh, good shot.
Yes, remember it's
Okay, so if only we had an electric type.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's the one type we're actually we do have an electric type move.
Fair. Give it a thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt, Luke. It did nothing. that was weak.
But since this is inverse, that means strong, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like, see, outrage is still gonna like dragon move is still dragon. Like, it's not makes much of a difference. So just hit it. Like, if anything, dragons are probably weaker in the inverse rules. You know, because it can be hit by water, electric, and fire.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So. Now this is a fucker.
Proteon, yeah.
Yeah, a protein Greninja. That's a tricky one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've got priority ice here, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of have to game it into picking the right Pokemon here a little bit.
Top set. Our Scyther has maybe been my favorite addition into the team.
Yeah,
Like,
isn't it just?
It has proved itself again and again.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is where it gets tricky because like you can kind of strategy your way around most of the Pokemon in this, whereas with Mega Kangaskhan you just have to brute force. There's no other way.
Unless you had another normal move. Like a fake out would be a great addition.
Yeah, exactly. If you had those kind of like really cheeky moves, like a quick attack or something, that's where you'd win. But if you're so tooled up for a certain expedition, like
oh yeah,
that's
look, I know you and I play differently. I would have gone in with fake out facade.
Yeah,
you know, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. This is not play to my strengths. Not in the slightest.